Hello, thank you for joining me. My name is Julia Dietmar, and today we're talking about customer retention. In this session, I am going to offer you a very simple framework that will help you immerse yourselves in the world of your customers, help you understand what they really value and how to deliver that value in a way that exceeds their expectations and creates a long-term customer for your business. Let's jump right in and get started.
How to think like your customers. The framework that we're going to discuss today will help you plan your product in a way that really creates customer value and will help you think like your customers. What creates retention? Depending on the nature of your business, you might approach retention as preserving a customer, or you might approach it as creating more engaged customer that comes back to purchase more or to use additional services from your company. This mainly depends on the nature of your business and your offer. If you are a B2B SaaS company, as many of you are, that is a subscription based, then your focus will be more on retaining the your subscriber and maximizing usage of your product or your tool. If you are let's say, e-commerce business selling goods, then your retention strategy would be more focused on customer engagement and enticing your customers to come back to your site, come back more frequently, and shop with you more often. In either case, your main goal will be on creating customer value. And so in today's session, and the framework that we're going to discuss will show how to build products that offer real value and ensure that your customers really stick with your business and do not leave you for your competitors. We have all heard this question: what is better than acquiring one new customer? And the answer isn't acquiring 2 new customers, it's actually retaining an existing one. We have all heard statistics that retaining an existing customer is much cheaper than acquiring a new one. Gartner is telling us that new customer acquisition can cost up to 25 times more than retaining an existing customer, and just a 5% increase in customer retention can increase profits by as much as 125%. Of course, it all depends on your marketing channels, how much you're spending on acquisition, and your average customer value. But the point here is that keeping and developing a customer you already have creates higher value for your business. And of course, existing customers are a lot more likely to try your new products, give you honest feedback, and spend more money with you in the long run. What do your customers want? If you're selling products or services to other businesses, then you are dealing with customers that want to accomplish all they can with the resources that they have available, or to maximize the value that their unit or their department is able to create in any given period of time. Basically, they want to leverage all available resources to pursue and achieve their goals and their objectives. And if your product allows them to do so, then that's where you are creating business value for them. So how do you develop a product that provides true value for your customers? You really first need to understand and very clearly define who your customer is, and then take a walk in her proverbial shoes to understand 3 things. And this framework basically talks about these 3 things: jobs that she does, her pains, and the gains she's looking to get from using your product. I'm going to illustrate my points by using one of the products that we have built at View.ai. And for the purposes for this talk, I'll define my target customer as a site merchandiser at an apparel retailer. This is somebody who is responsible for listing products on an online store, and that job includes creating and maintaining product metadata, all the data that describes a product on the e-commerce site, in order to help customers to find those products and make a more informed purchase decision. So as soon as I define my customer, now I need to understand what jobs these customers need help with. A job is any task that your customer performs regularly. Jobs are either functional or social. Functional jobs are those your customers need to get done. For example, one job that site merchant needs to get done, and they do it on a very regular basis, is to ensure that products in her online store have sufficient information. Since we're talking about apparel retailer, for example, this would be information that she would enter for a particular garment, the type of that garment, let's say a dress, what colors are available, the type of the silhouette, pattern, neckline, and whatever other information needs to be there for customers to easily find that product and make an informed purchase decision. And maybe also she needs to create a compelling product title and description that are SEO friendly and can provide traffic boost by ranking high in search engines. So that's the need to create product attributes or product metadata. Social jobs are those that customers want to do in order to impress others. And those others could be their own customers, their boss, their colleagues. And this could be a consequence of the functional job. For example, if the product metadata is rich and complete, this will create better site search capabilities. Their customers will be able to browse much easier. It will provide better SEO and traffic boost, which all of that will result in higher conversion. And if she being the site merchant is using automation tools for creating the metadata, then maybe she can create more products in shorter time with more attributes and onboard more of them on her website store. So that will obviously create her boss and her colleagues, and she will get a praise. So that's the social jobs, the results that they want to happen as a result of their functional jobs. The next step in identifying values is understanding customer pains. What things stand in the way of a customer performing a job? The first pain is unwanted outcomes, meaning she did not get a result or outcome that she was after. So for example, when manually creating product attributes, there are mistakes and the data becomes inconsistent. The next one is obstacles. Obstacles prevent the customer from completing a job or even starting a job. So maybe there are too many products that she needs to onboard on a daily basis, and her team is not well staffed, and it simply takes too long to create rich attributes for all those products that she needs to onboard. And the last pain is risk, the unpleasant or undesired things that happen when a job does not get done. So without product metadata, there is not enough information for a shopper to make a purchase decision. If product attributes are incomplete, then shoppers cannot find products on the site. If it takes too long to list products on the site, then the opportunity to sell those products is lost. And then, of course, conversion suffers and there is a loss of revenue. And the third and final step in determining value is recognizing types of customer gains, the things customers are hoping to get by using your product or service. The first is required gains. This is the basic function of whatever product or service you are going to offer. The required gain of an attribute extraction service, for example, would be to extract attributes from product images and automate creation of product metadata. The second one is expected gains. Customers expect a product to work seamlessly and be bug-free. So if we're talking about automating product metadata creation, then customers expect automated process to be faster than the manual one, and for attributes to be more or at least as accurate as manually entered by human workers. And the third one is desired gains, which is when a product goes beyond expectations. So an example could be when a product seamlessly integrates with other systems that a customer is using, or maybe it's able to create more comprehensive list of attributes for higher volume of products in our example of automated tools. So one thing that is very, very important to remember when creating value for the customer is that the true value defines how your product or service relieves pains and creates gains for your customers. At the end of the day, customers really care about the value that is provided to them. And so when we created our product, we determined that the major pains when listing products on the web store and manually creating product attributes were that it was taking too long, people were making mistakes, and the data was not always consistent. And so the tool created gains for the customer, where it automated the process and allowed for quicker, more accurate, and more consistent data being created for larger number of products and with more attributes. Plus, additionally, it freed up human resources to work on other more meaningful tasks, thus kind of fulfilling the social jobs for our customers. When we talk about value, especially when it comes to customer retention, we need to also remember how customers perceive that value, which means that you should be communicating the value of your product or service very clearly and regularly. The way to do it could be in a form of a weekly or monthly report, or it could be analytics section inside your SaaS product. Whatever it is, it should very clearly demonstrate gains. So for example, we're showing the number of attributes that were created and the accuracy of the data. This could be taken even further, and maybe we could show how long it took to create this data so that the customer can compare minutes it took to automate to weeks it used to take her before. So that would be kind of another part of the value creation that we could showcase. And of course, you need to be convinced yourself that your product is providing real value. And you want to understand how your customers are using it and where improvements could be made. So measuring and monitoring is very important. And there are many tools out there that help you do just that. My favorite, and the one we use at View.ai, is this tool called Oric. It lets us create events, define funnels, look at heat maps, launch a survey, and one of my most favorite features is the one that lets me actually observe behavior of my customers on our site. This is a video of actual customer sessions, which I can replay. And it shows me replays of what users do when they come to the tool. I can see where they're coming from, which countries, what features they're used, how much time they spend on a task. This tool actually helped us uncover a couple of major usability issues, but also provided an insight into what other features we could add and how we could shape the product to be a lot more valuable. So by kind of observing how your customers are using this tool, this is definitely something, there are definitely a lot of insights that you can gain from just those kind of observations. Another thing that is actually very valuable here that I wanted to mention, we were able to see how our site and our tool is seen from various devices, operating systems, and browsers. A lot of you know that it's sometimes not very realistic with limited resources, especially if you're a startup, to test extensively on all devices and all browsers. And through just kind of viewing, if you're not even viewing all of the sessions, it's probably not realistic to do that, but by viewing sessions and through instrumenting events in the tool, you can definitely see if you have any problems in the product that create issues for your customer experience. So if you want a clear window into customer experience your product presents and want to analyze how to improve your retention rate, a tool like this definitely should be in your toolbox. And kind of speaking of providing value, this guy's Org, for example, as a product is helping me to do my job. So I am their customer. My job as a product manager, one of my jobs or one of my needs is to be able to monitor product usage and test it for usability. We know that controlled usability testing is expensive and does not always produce the most accurate results. And being able to watch session replays for every one of my customers, if I choose to do so, is an extremely desired gain. I can even quantify a value of a certain bug by figuring out how many customers it has affected, which is very helpful for prioritization. And an additional desired gain here are features that replace a number of other tools, like surveys, feedback, and PS scores, etc., that I have eliminated and replaced with just one tool. So they've definitely created a value and retained me as a customer. So anyway, moving on. It's also very good idea to ask your customers for feedback right when they're using your product. They're in the moment, they're experiencing it, and more likely than not, they will give you some really good feedback. And it can be a free-form text, or it could be multiple choice questions. It's really up to you, as long as the answers are meaningful and you can use them to improve value of for your customer, or even you can use this to figure out what language is to speak to your customer, in a sense, this what would be the best messaging for marketing these tools for new customers. So using your existing customers, how would you talk about this tool for attracting your new ones? And then, of course, after getting this feedback, you will iterate, you will build new features, or you will improve the experience, you will measure and observe, you will ask for more feedback, and this will be kind of an iterative process that will lead to create a better value for your customers. Now, do remember that the value to your customer comes only from their desired outcomes and results. You could have the best technology under the hood, you could have the most sophisticated tools and engineers working on this, but unless the customer perceives that value and looks at your product or service in terms of their desired outcomes and results, it's not going to be a success. So this is a very important thing to keep in mind when figuring out what to build next. And future improvements in your products should be focused on investing in desired gains. When building your roadmaps, think about, will this feature exceed customer expectations and increase value for them? Is it going to do it for only one customer who asked for it, or is it going to do it for all of my customers? Do we think that it will do it, or do we know? And you can, of course, validate it by, again, launching surveys, observing customers, maybe creating a beta customer group with the purpose of creating value for all of your customer base. So in conclusion, how we're when building products for the purpose of retention, we really need to focus on customer value. In order to figure out what value is, we need to clearly define who is the customer, what are her jobs, what are her pains, unwanted outcomes, obstacles, and risks, what gains is she hoping to get from using our product or service. Is core of my product features focused on fulfilling her functional job with required and expected gains? Do I communicate value clearly? Do I provide weekly or monthly reports or an analytics section on my site that clearly demonstrates gains? And do I have a way to measure, observe, and ask for feedback? And finally, are the features and improvements on my roadmap focused on eliminating pains and or creating desired gains? So this is all for today. There's a lot of good literature that kind of helps you put yourself in the mind of your customer. These are some of the books that I found very helpful. I encourage you to check them out. And I would love for you to connect and reach out. Always helpful to connect with other product professionals. And thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.